Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the organizers for inviting me here. And thank you for your patience with my poor French. I think there's so many opportunities between our two countries, but I think what I want to do is situate that in the context of where we are right now in terms of what we're trying to accomplish here today. I think the big challenge, and we talk about this fourth industrial revolution, I think the big challenge is we have never had a greater need for more cooperation between universities, government, and business. In the first revolution, we simply moved people from the countryside to the city, built some industries, and then we added electricity and automobiles and telephones so we could produce things more quickly and in greater numbers. And then we saw the digital revolution, and all of a sudden, those of us who worked in universities stopped teaching skills and started talking about knowledge and analytic thinking. And I think we need now in the fourth industrial revolution to go back to skills, to talk about the relationship between what we learn and what we teach and how industry uses that, how it benefits a country, how we can go away from a model that's based simply on growth and cooperation and move to a model that's based on success and productivity, how we can find a way to solve what I think are the five big challenges of the fourth industrial revolution. Privacy. It is going to be the single biggest challenge we all face, and industries is going to have to value data, understand how and under what circumstances they're going to interact with people, because we're no longer building things so much as we're building ideas. I saw the president of Mercedes-Benz speak at a conference in Germany, and he said within 20 years there'll be no more car companies. And I thought that's an interesting observation for the CEO of a car company. And he said, I don't run a car company. I run a technology company, and we build some transportation equipment to put our technology in. That's where we are now. So privacy is a big challenge. I think we have to deal with a labor force that is driven by technology and not by labor anymore. So we have to find ways for the university to help partner with skills. In Canada, we have a program called MyTax, which puts young researchers in labs, in businesses, in the field, gets them engaged. And more, that's what we do. I run a program that was designed 73 years ago to simply move people from one country to another. And we've had huge success. We have 351,000 alumni, 29 current heads of state, 80 Nobel Prize winners, 59 Pulitzer Prize winners. But we can't do what we used to do, which is simply move people, keep our fingers crossed, and hope for the best. We have to structure those opportunities. We have to connect them with business. We have to get them to ask those big and important questions about privacy, about artificial intelligence and what that means, about the labor force, and about productivity. And we have to get them to talk about cooperation instead of competition. Thank you. Well, my view is that we don't have an opportunity here, we have an obligation. Organizations like Fulbright, organizations that have the opportunity to move people, to engage people from different countries, have an opportunity to, or an obligation to make sure that we value knowledge, that there's a clear transfer of knowledge between and among governments, business, and universities. We need also to reach more deeply into the university community and get undergraduates involved in business, get them involved in research, move them. One of the most important things that we have done is actually move people so that we can live in other people's shoes and see the challenges they face. And I think Canada and Morocco are especially well positioned because we share many things. We are countries with great opportunity, but also countries with challenges. We haven't, at this point, had to play, either of us, a large role in the international order in terms of the production of knowledge, but now we're all going to have to. And a good example here is your solar energy industry. Here's an opportunity for Morocco to play a leadership role in knowledge development, and in the transfer of that knowledge. And I think this is a time when we could see our two countries, we are a natural resource producer, but we're also in the business now of alternate energy, of finding ways to move forward. And that's, in some ways, there's a very practical application. It's about energy we need and produce for industry, but it's also about knowledge. Well, thank you. I love the idea of connectivity. Everything about where we are now is about connectivity. But sometimes we forget, and especially young people forget, connection means participation. It means interaction. So connectivity is useless unless there's a follow-up, unless there's interaction, unless we make sure that these different elements are working together. My favorite example is the computing industry. For about 20 years, they all had proprietary technology. They all operated relatively independently with different operating systems, with different chips, with different pieces of software. And it slowed the development of the industry because of the lack of cooperation. It helped in short-term profits for a few big companies. But when the industry really took off is when they had a common set of protocols that drove the interaction and the cooperation and the connectivity. They could still make money. They could still find a niche in the marketplace, but it was only when they genuinely connected with a common purpose did that industry move forward. So about 15 years ago, I was at my home university, which is Queen's University in Canada. I'd just come back from Berkeley, where I had a chair and was teaching there. And one of my senior colleagues, I told him we should have a PhD defense by teleconference. And he said, that will never do. He said, universities have been the same since the 12th century. Why would we change them now? But then we had the teleconference, because we need to change the model. And the answer to how you're going to get my colleagues to change is to simply change the structure they operate in. They can still give lectures, they can still teach in the way they want, but we have to have students, the programs they're in, have them out in labs, out in business, out in the community, have them volunteering, have cooperative programs, have programs that are designed to have a multi-knowledge function. So we can teach skills while at the same time they're learning thinking skills and analytic skills and social skills. So the short answer is, I'm not going to convince my colleagues. I need to convince my administrator friends to change the model to move us forward.